On the news tonight, stakeholders call for holistic approach to tackle challenges militating against effective tax administration. Nigeria Customs confiscates over 1,000 live ammunition concealed in bags of foreign rice. Nigeria loses over 10 billion naira to closure of Nigeria-Niger borders. Good evening and welcome to NTA Jebode News at 7, coming to you from your heritage station. Thanks for staying tuned with us. I am Olawumi Adeniji. Here are the details. The Nigeria Customs Service Ogun Area 1 Command has intercepted and confiscated 1,245 rounds of live ammunition concealed in bags of foreign rice. The controller, Ogun 1 Area Command of Customs, Bamidele Makinde, while briefing journalists on the seizure, said that the live cartridges were seized at a border town between Nigeria and Benin Republic. Akim Jimo report is presented in this package.
Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, during his recent visit to Ogun State to collaborate with security agencies in neighboring countries to minimize trans-border crime and criminality, men and officers of the Ogun Area 1 Command of the service intensified patrol around the border communities. The move is now paying off with the interception of 1,245 live cartridges concealed in 250 kilograms bags of foreign rice valued at 17,638,145 naira.
About 1,245 rounds of 70mm 2¾ ammunition of Lion Trust Supreme Red Star branded cartridges were found to have been ingeniously concealed in 20 bags of the intercepted foreign rice. While considering the potential danger of the ammunition of such magnitude, if successfully smuggled in, we will double our efforts to ensure they do not find their way into the country. It is a threat to the safety of the border communities and national security.
Customs boss, who noted that the drivers of the 5 vehicles used to convey the contraband and prohibited goods are on the run, said that investigations are ongoing to unravel the suspects behind the crime. He attributed the feat to interagency synergy and intelligence sharing among the various security agencies around the Diroko border area.
Traders and merchants in West Africa have decried the impact of sanctions on Niger and how it is affecting movement of goods and services in the Sahel region. Owing to this, Nigeria is said to be losing more than 10 billion naira weekly due to the sanctions. Details with Musa Aliyu.
It's been estimated that Nigeria is losing about 13 billion naira worth of business and trade as a result of sanctions imposed on Niger Republic. 7 states of Katsina, Kebbi, Zamfara, Sokoto, Jigawa, Yobe and Borno share border and are involved in daily trade and business with Niger worth billions of naira. Chairman Arewa Economic Forum Yahaya Dakata in a press conference says trade between Niger and Nigeria is mostly informal, especially in perishable goods, food items and livestock worth 177 billion naira.
As at last year, I think the formal trade recorded between Nigeria and Niger is about 171 billion. But one thing is, just like Nigeria, Niger has a large part of its trade informal, not formalized, so it's not captured. And that estimate of the informal trade is more than 515 billion naira. And this informal trade is mostly in perishable commodities. I'm talking about agricultural commodities, onions, livestock.
All these businesses have been suspended as the border closed and movement of goods and services restricted. The Arewa Economic Forum therefore says the economic consequences of the closure is becoming unbearable for traders, with negative impacts on the social well-being of the people. The forum says since the closure of the border, about 2,000 containers laden with perishable and non-perishable goods have been trapped and cannot be cleared due to the closure.
Appealing for the federal government and the national security advisor to intervene for the other alternative that we're looking for the solution. Things are going worse for us now, more especially with the people of the entirely north. We're talking about north in general. We don't have any access to cross our consignment for now, unless we now carry our consignment down to Semi, which is not proper for us. For us to carry that consignment to Semi, it going to cause us a damage because our container has come on transit.
To this end, the Arewa Economic Forum is appealing to the federal government to consider the reopening of Ilo border, which shares boundary with Benin Republic through Kebbi State. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
And in the meantime, the tax reforms initiated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has continued to generate excitement that more resources will be generated and used for development. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria are urging the Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms to carefully find holistic solutions to the challenges that have militated against effective tax administration in the country. Lydia Samson has more.
Boss tax management has been described as a game changer. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria acknowledged that though some progress has been made in recent times, continuous evaluation and expanding the tax net can be achieved through reforms and multi-stakeholder engagement.
The reform is to solve two problems. One is to solve the problem of multiple taxation, and the other one is to take up our tax to GDP ratio to where it's supposed to be. I think that is the reason why the president has to bring the reform.
Let's look at the economy, let's look at the revenue and be able to bring it up, generate more than what we have been generating, such that if we have to go a borrowing at all, it is going to be very minimal at the very least.
With revenue generation below 50%, they opine that both tax administrators, taxpayers, and government must be on the same page of patriotism, accountability, and efficient use of tax resources.
What we should do, the FRS has started, is to catch them young. Let our young ones be up and doing in trying to comply.
If we look at taxpayers, some taxpayers or a group of taxpayers are not paying enough, what we need to do is to try to diagnose how they are able to go about it, and see areas where there is too much latitude to maneuver. So that part of the reform is also to look at those tax laws and see where we need to close.
The need for harmonizing taxes to ease the multiplicity, according to them, will go a long way in changing the narrative of tax evasion and improve compliance. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
The Defense Headquarters has reacted to a false report. Excuse me. The Defense Headquarters has reacted to a false report stating that the Armed Forces of Nigeria received a request to effect change of leadership of the country. In a statement, Director Defense Information, Brigadier General Tuko Guso, stated that the armed forces never received nor made such a declaration at any given time to anyone or any group. Let's hear more from Olajide Bello.
Headquarters notes that the military is comfortable with democracy and remains loyal to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and assures Nigerians that the armed forces are ready to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The armed forces are upscaling joint security operations to stem criminality across the country. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that this is the focus of a joint course for Military Services War College, holding at the National Defense College, Abuja.
The Nigerian armed forces are combating diverse internal security challenges in different parts of the country. These threats said to have been amplified by the nation's porous borders and proliferation of small and light weapons are sometimes complex and require a multifaceted approach to tackle.
This brought about the harmonization.
This course, which Services War College is tagged Exercise Tranex, is aimed at enhancing joint security operations in view of the dynamic and complex security environment.
Security threats require realistic and effective joint operations. Exercise Tranex is designed to practice and develop participants' understanding and in the art of strategic decision-making during crisis management using the elements of national power.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, charged security agencies to be proactive in the ongoing efforts to secure Nigeria's territorial integrity.
Jointness is way out. We need to train together, to work together so that we can get results together. No single service or single parastatal can achieve success without the others. So what we are doing now is to bring our participants so that they come together with personnel of National Defense College to work together to develop systems that will work for us in case of crisis.
The joint exercise is to, among other things, promote synergy among the land, sea and air components of the Nigerian Armed Forces, particularly during internal military security operations. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Niger's military leader has vowed to prosecute President Mohamed Bazoum for alleged treason and criticized West African leaders for imposing sanctions against the country. Adebola Brusley has more.
The spokesperson to the junta, Amado Abdurrahmani, says the military leaders will prosecute Bazoum for undermining the internal and external security of Niger. The West African bloc ECOWAS last week approved the deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger as soon as possible, but claimed that it remains committed to finding a diplomatic solution to the crisis.
Tout état de cause, le gouvernement nigérien a réuni.
The government of Niger has to date gathered the necessary evidence to prosecute before the national and international authorities the ousted president, his local and international companies before undermining local and international security of Niger.
Meanwhile, Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights has urged those who detained President Mohamed Bazoum to respect and protect the human rights of those detained. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, said UN felt concerned after learning about the poor living conditions of those detained in Niger, including the president and his family.
Je suis extrêmement préoccupé.
I am concerned about the rapidly deteriorating conditions in which President Mohamed Bazoum, his wife and his have been arbitrarily detained in violation of our human rights law. I have received reports that electricity has been cut and they have no access to clean drinking water amid hot temperatures in Niger.
De toute personne détenue.
The coup of its kind in the West African country in 3 years has drawn condemnation from many African countries and others outside the continent, which view the unconstitutional change of power as a threat to stability and development on the continent. Adebola Brooksland, NTA News.
And away from security and criminality. The outcome of the 2023 elections in Nigeria have continued to raise concerns with regards to the participation and representations of women in politics. Correspondent takes a look at some of the challenges confronting women in their case to achieve political inclusion and decision-making, particularly in a male-dominated politics.
While women are making significant contributions to Nigerian politics, especially on election days, their representation in political and decision-making positions, political analysts observed, needs to be improved.
In this part of the world, there is no political will to increase representation or participation of women. No political will. I remember a series of bills tabled before our National Assembly which did not fly. At the end of the day, those bills were thrown out.
Underrepresentation of women can be attributed to factors such as cultural stereotypes, religion, and the patriarchal social structure of the country.
Basically because our people have the psyche that a woman cannot be their leader. A woman is not a leader, she is perpetually a follower. And so any woman who tries or who attempts to be a leader is squashed one way or the other.
Meanwhile, statistics indicate that the number of women elected to the National Assembly in 2023 is the lowest since 2003, when 24 women were elected. This is why political analysts are advocating deliberate policies that are geared towards galvanizing women's participation in politics.
We need to welcome each other. We need to not see each other as competition. We need to support each other, and we need to provide information.
We have many women who are clamoring for gender equity. We have many NGOs who are rising to the cries of women, and then encouraging more women to join the political sector.
Gender advocates and political analysts are of the opinion that the exclusion of women from political leadership roles denies them the opportunity to contribute to policy and decision-making processes that shape Nigeria's future. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
The federal government has refuted publication in the Sunday Punch on page 6, which reads, federal government sets up panel to reconstitute board of parastatals.
The secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, says clearly that there is no truth in the story as published in the Sunday Punch. Neither has government set up any other committee to as alleged to preview the resumes of individuals who would fill such board appointments, as stated in the said publication. Also, the reporter inaccurately quoted that 14 agencies were stipulated to have been exempted, whereas the release in question at that time only received the President's approval for 2 agencies, NDLEA and NAFDAC. SGF admonishes media practitioners to always cross-check information directly from authorized persons in its office rather than depending on some social media reports.
We are going on a short break now. We'll be right back. Do stay tuned.
Hey, this kilo, how are you doing? Farabalẹ̀. 1,000. We go once play tire. Farabalẹ̀ now.
Madam, hello lówó wa.
Brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
1,000 naira credit. Now you turn to 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
You are welcome back. The news continues. Disaster response has gone beyond just response, that is, arriving at the scene of the incident and trying to arrest the situation as much as the relevant emergency agencies could. It must be timely and efficient. That is why disaster response has now moved to management, which means putting proactive mechanisms in place that will anticipate, map out vulnerable areas and prepare an early warning system in such areas to mitigate the extent of damages that could occur in terms of loss of lives and properties. Adeola Komiakere has more.
The impact of disaster on lives and property has always been devastating, with attendant effects leaving scarring marks. Since life is sacred, most disaster response agencies have engaged in different strategies to curb the impact within their domain.
For this period, especially this season we are, it's increasing due to the season we have now. You know, it's rainy season, and earth-wise too, the weather is not really friendly.
I think the time factor also determines, probably it's in the midnight also, I never can tell, but I think the time factor determines the rate at which they respond quickly or not.
In Lagos, the tide is changing, with attention now shifted to the management of intrinsic factors influencing disasters.
I think they should just hasten up when being alerted.
It has become imperative for state government to set up facilities that will improve disaster response to be effective and efficient, while mapping out strategies to make sure that relevant sister agencies in the state, such as the fire service, key into the measure. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
And now some sports stories. You made us proud, and even the world took notice. This is how Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, saluted members of the Super Falcons when she received them at the Villa back from the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo completes the report.
It was in this room that the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, joined by wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashim Shettima, and Senate President's wife, Ekaete Akpabio, rooted for the Super Falcons, savoring moments of joy and enduring what one may call moments of mental suffering with their darling Super Falcons as they put up a good fight against the Lionesses of England. Now, in keeping with her promise to personally welcome the team, the First Lady received members of the Super Falcons, led by the President of the Nigerian Football Federation and their captain, to the State House. The pain of their only defeat at the round of 16 was a long-forgotten memory at the reception, as the mother of the nation, joined by other soccer moms, appreciated the team for displaying true Nigerian spirit at the Soccer Mundial.
You have not only represented Nigeria on the global stage, but have also become role models for our youth, especially girls who now see their aspirations mirrored in you. I salute you today and welcome you back home, and our goodwill and best wishes go to other players who have gone back to their base. You gave your all, and we stand with you and are so proud of you.
For her, victory is not only determined by the score sheet on the field of play, but more by the character and spirit on display.
Although the final result did not go your way, our way, the dedication and resilience you displayed on the pitch has filled even Mr. President, me and other Nigerians with immense respect and admiration.
Thanking the First Lady for her support and for honoring the team, NFF President Ibrahim Gusso said the Federation will focus on sports development and continue to present good teams for FIFA tournaments.
Personally, I saw a video of Your Excellency supporting the Falcons with so much passion during their win over Australia, as you watch on television. I want to assure you here that the players and officials will be paid all their entitlement as soon as we receive the World Cup money from FIFA.
You know, it feels like we are appreciated, everybody appreciates what we do. And I want to say a very big thank you to her. Even before we went for the competition, you know, she gave us a very great, you know, a farewell.
For her support, the First Lady and other soccer moms were presented with Super Falcons jerseys by the NFF. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Congratulations to the Super Falcons. To end the news this evening, a recap of our top stories. We brought you a report that guests on Good Morning Nigeria have called for a holistic approach to tackle challenges militating against effective tax administration in the country. The Nigeria Customs Service Ogun Area 1 Command has intercepted and confiscated over 1,000 live ammunition concealed in bags of foreign rice. We also told you that Nigeria is said to be losing more than 10 billion naira weekly due to closure of Nigeria-Niger borders. And that concludes our package for this evening. Do join us tomorrow for a fresh package. Have a good night rest.
Dr. Dollar Entertainment.
Kajo, 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 kayo, kayo, kajo. Uyo me ole uo san okun mi o. Uyo me